Hello, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines here in the southeast. 9-month-old Matilda, her parents thank the off-duty paramedic for helping to save her life after she began choking on a piece of fruit.
The debate on drugs as yet another cannabis farm is found by police. Campaigners ask if it's time to try a different approach.
Also this Friday evening, doing your bit to find out why the insect population is declining. The splatometer on car number plates.
And fancy trying a new sport? The Bulls' big weekend is offering taster sessions across the southeast. But how did Andrew Pate fare when he gave it a go? Good evening to you. The parents of a 9-month-old baby girl from Kent have thanked an off-duty paramedic for helping save her life after she began choking on a piece of fruit.
They called for an ambulance when Matilda got into trouble at home last week, and the control room was then able to alert their neighbour Sam, who wasn't working at the time.
Well, today they got the chance to thank him for his efforts in person. Our reporter Kit Bradshaw was there.
For this family, mealtime has become a slightly more stressful affair after what happened last week when 9-month-old Matilda got into difficulty.
She had her dinner absolutely fine. She was having a pudding of melon, which she's had before and she loves. We could see she was struggling, so we kind of gave it a second just to see whether it was a gag or something. And then we could see she was struggling more, so we pulled her out of her high chair. As she got worse, I told you to call for an ambulance.
Within minutes, there was a knock at the front door.
I was expecting an ambulance, but Sam turned up and said that he'd received a trigger of an alert. So I was amazed at how quickly that was.
The paramedic there to help was off duty and had been alerted via a smartphone app called Good Sam.
I was sitting at home in my joggers on my rest day, and I think I was in my pyjama top, to be honest. And my phone went off. It's quite a distinctive paging sound. I knew it was a Good Sam activation, and found out that the individual, Matilda, was 254 metres away, 9 months old, and that's all I got.
He was able to quickly assess the situation and reassure Matilda's parents until the ambulance arrived.
I noticed that we were crying, breathing, good colour, which is all good signs, and so I was basically given some reassurance that we don't need to do anything at the minute, because an effective cough is the best thing to try and sort of expel the melon.
Today, Charlotte and Rob have been able to thank Sam personally for what he did for them.
We were just incredibly lucky, incredibly fortunate that Sam was there.
To know that he gave up his time to be able to be there, to be one of the people to kind of save her life, and to be there for us as well as parents, first-time parents, lockdown parents. Yeah, we're incredibly grateful, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Unsurprisingly, melon is off the menu for now, with this family reassured that help was so close at hand when they needed it most. Kit Bradshaw, ITV News, Maidstone.
What a hero. And if you're a parent and having watched that want to know what you should do if your little one starts choking, well, the paramedic in Kit's report has recorded a demonstration of the correct first aid procedure for us, and the video's on our website, itv.com/Meridian.
In other news, 2 drug dealers have been jailed for the murder of a mother and her young son in Eastbourne. Jacob Barnard and Andrew Milne burnt down the family home of Gina Ingalls and her 4-year-old son Milo. Barnard will spend a minimum of 36 years inside. Milne, 34 years. Both were convicted of 2 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder.
A man's died in a crash in Crawley. His van overturned on the A23 London Road this morning. The road was closed in both directions for several hours. Police are asking anyone who saw the vehicle or has dashcam footage to contact them. No other vehicle was involved.
Police have released images of a man they want to speak to following reports of an attempted kidnap in Headcorn near Maidstone. It's reported that the victim was parked in his truck when he was approached by 2 men who then punched him in the face. He was then made to get into the suspect's car where they made threats.
An East Sussex trial studying the effectiveness of vaccinating cattle against TB has been awarded more than £2 million. The government says it hopes results from the scheme will mean an end to the routine culling of badgers.
Now, it's not only Friday, it's also, of course, the start of a sunny bank holiday weekend and a chance for the hospitality industry to finally start recovering for over a year of enforced hibernation.
Yes, and along with hotels, cinemas, theatres and restaurants, campsites are hoping for a bumper weekend of business. Andy Dickinson's been to one deep in the heart of the Sussex countryside and has just sent us this.
Yes, a bank holiday is upon us, a bank holiday with beautiful weather predicted and some freedoms to actually go out and enjoy it, the kind of bank holiday, quite frankly, that hoteliers, restaurants, cafes and campsites like this one have been dreaming of for over a year. Jamie Atkinson, just how excited are you by this weekend?
Really excited. It's so great to get this good weather and with restrictions being eased, it's just what the country needs, I think.
Just how important is that combination of restrictions being eased and good weather for the tourism industry, would you say?
It's really important for us financially to give us that boost. Obviously it's been quite a difficult year so far. It's going to make quite a big impact because we can go back to full capacity. We have 5 yurts and 3 self-pitches. We have barbecues at each yurt. Yeah, it's just really nice place for people to escape to nature.
Thanks, Jamie. I better let you get on with your preparations. Of course, full lockdown restrictions haven't yet been lifted. There is set to be some rail disruption, for example, between Ashford International and Canterbury. The RNLI is warning beachgoers to take care as they prepare for, they say, one of their busiest seasons ever, which has already seen people trapped by the tide at Seven Sisters. Highways England has removed roadworks but is reminding drivers to check their cars. But overall the message is stay safe, slap on some sun cream and enjoy the sun.
We certainly will, thank you. Meanwhile, Essex is the latest area of the southeast to try to entice more tourists. Exquisite Essex has been launched today with the aim of changing perceptions. The county has a long history of fish and seafood, unspoilt estuaries and bird life. Locals say it's a great area for kayakers, sailors and paddleboarders, as well as all the more well-known attractions of Southend and Clacton.
Plans for the £2 billion Lower Thames crossing will not be resubmitted until later this year. When complete, the tunnel between Gravesend and Essex will be Britain's longest road tunnel. It's already been delayed by an extensive review. Now Highways England have announced a further delay to enable more consultation. They've said the government is determined the project will go ahead.
People living near the new inland border facility, the so-called Brexit Lorry Park at Sevington, Ashford, say light pollution is damaging their skyline. Some locals claim it's making a rural area almost as bright as daytime. The Department for Transport says a lighting survey is being carried out, and Ashford's MP says he is aware of the problem.
Now, a huge cannabis farm has been found by police in Southend. Essex police say the plants had a street value of between £100,000 and £200,000. Such discoveries are all too common, but campaigners for drug policy reform say the real problem is that most politicians are out of step with public opinion.
Well, this week marks 50 years since the Misuse of Drugs Act gained royal assent, which has criminalised drug users for the last half-century.
Well, in Nick Smith's second report on drugs, he's been investigating the different approaches we could take.
Sittingbourne Forward Trust has spent many years supporting those with drug misuse problems in Kent. Throughout that time, they've seen it firsthand what a criminal approach to the issue can do to vulnerable addicts.
The cost to society of illegal substances is around £20 billion per year, but yet only £600 million is spent on treatment and prevention. When we look at that in comparison, so 1 in 4 prisoners in custody at the moment are there in relation to a drug possession charge. Due to the short amount of time that they're in custody means that they don't get to access structured intervention to look at addressing that behaviour change.
So what could we do differently? 20 years ago, Portugal decriminalised all drugs, meaning those caught in possession did not enter the criminal justice system, but were instead offered treatment pathways.
What we can say with Portugal is that, when they made those changes, not only did the sky not fall in, but, the sky became somewhat brighter for everybody. The use of drugs went down. They had some of the highest uses in Europe, and that's fallen to some of the lowest levels of heroin use. They had some of the highest levels of drug-related deaths. They fell. So across the board on most measures, we had better outcomes for the individuals involved. We had better outcomes for the society as well.
But for many who want reform, decriminalisation is only a halfway house, as it doesn't take drug supply out of criminal hands. With such widespread use in society, some are calling for them to be fully legalised so they can be safely regulated.
The illicit drug trade is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. Now, that could not be supported by poor people who are down and out. That's supported by middle to upper class people. We have to think about, as responsible adults, how do we minimize or decrease the likelihood of people getting in trouble with drugs through better education, also better services such that you don't have drugs on the street that are tainted with potential toxins. All of those sort of things is areas where we can intervene if we were serious about this problem.
A growing number of MPs are calling for a policy rethink. The question is whether it's ever likely to happen.
I think personally people are frightened of the issue. We've got to engage with the real public policy questions at stake here because they are of massive importance, are killing thousands of our citizens every year, are costing us tens of billions of pounds worth of crime and victims of crime, and they are meaning that millions of people are not getting the medical treatments they should do, and we need to address that fast.
Well, the government has admitted that urgent action is needed. And in response to a recent Health Select Committee report highlighting that drug deaths were at an all-time high, they promised to increase efforts on prevention, treatment and recovery. But government officials stopped short on some of the recommendations, saying they don't favour any policy to decriminalise drugs or legalise any of them. And some agree with this approach. Think tank the Centre for Social Justice says a policy to facilitate drug use could further exacerbate the problem.
What we do see with the threat of legalisation is a massive uptake in the amount of consumption of dangerous drugs in our community. And that's problematic because while we must draw a distinction between recreational use and addiction, it's right to say that a large proportion of people will become addicted that wouldn't otherwise.
Whichever side of the drugs debate you land on, the conversation is not going away. And after 50 years of the same approach, questions continue over whether our policy still reflects the reality of today's attitudes. Nick Smith, ITV News.
And the ITV Evening News Hour continues with the national and the international news at 6:30. Here's Charlene White.
Coming up, the police said MI5 failings that contributed to 2 murders in a terror attack. Jack Merritt and Saskia Jones were attacked by convicted terrorist Usman Khan at Fishmongers Hall in November 2019. He travelled alone to London despite being released from prison less than a year earlier. Also ahead, a 4th COVID vaccine gets the green light. And how the Great British Getaway might not be so great for seaside towns after all. Join us at 6:30.
Charlene, thank you very much. Now, a new app that tracks dead insects on car number plates will help determine why so many bugs and insects are dying out. A study from 2019 in Kent found car number plates had a 50% fall in insects compared with 15 years earlier.
Well, the charity Bug Life and Kent Wildlife Trust have now launched the free Bugs Matter app to help people to collect data. Users start by cleaning their number plate before a journey, which is then tracked by the app.
Well, Robbie Still from Kent Wildlife Trust in Maidstone is our local expert and he joins us now. Robbie, firstly, why is it so important that we know insect numbers?
Well, insects underpin absolutely everything in our natural world. They are a huge food source for birds, bats, even mammals. You might not find insects particularly cute themselves, but everyone loves a nightingale or a cuckoo, and without insects they just don't have anything to eat, and their numbers are severely declining, and we are fairly sure insects are the reason why.
So tell us, how does the app actually work?
So it's very, very simple. It's a free app to download. All you do is you clean your number plate before your journey, and then after your journey, you hold up our splatometer grid to your number plate, count how many insect splats are in the 6 little holes in the grid, and then record that count, take a picture of your number plate, and you're good to go.
So once you've got these findings and these figures, what are you going to do with this information, and how are we going to change the situation?
So the key thing with insects is, apart from a few species like butterflies, there aren't a huge amount of monitoring programs already. So we don't actually know how bad the problem is. All we know is that people are seeing less windscreen splats of insects. So the whole point of this is so that we know how many insects there are and how bad it is compared to the previous surveys that were done in 2004 and 2 years ago. And then we're going to do this every single year, so we get a really clear picture of insect numbers, how much they are declining, and then we know what we can do to help.
Well, very best of luck with the project. We will watch with interest. Robbie Still, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
That's all right. Thank you.
You're watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. Thank you for choosing us. Coming up, a bank holiday weather forecast you won't want to miss.
And the Brighton Fringe is taking centre stage this weekend. We'll find out exactly what is on offer.
And for more on all of our stories, go to itv.com/Meridian. Call us on 0808 1010 095. You can also follow us both on Facebook and on Twitter.
Now, if you're considering taking up a new sport, we may have just the answer. The Bowls Big Weekend is taking place, with hundreds of clubs here in the southeast taking part. So I've been to Rottingdean Bowling Club near Brighton to give it a go. Overlooked by the Rottingdean Windmill, the Bowls Club here has welcomed players for almost 90 years. And on Sunday, a new batch will come along to see if it's the sport for them, as part of the Bowls Big Weekend. So, under the guidance of Coach Barbara, I was given a taster of how to play the game.
Our rink is between the number one, the white marker on the left, white marker on the right, and we have to keep within those white markers.
The stance, the grip, the bend of the bowl. I was ready. Ooh.
Now look at, did you see your hand? It was hooked.
I don't know if I want to see anything. Some may see bowls as a sport for the older person, but members here at Rottingdean say it's a sport for everyone.
It suits a lot of people that retire from games that they can't play anymore. Golf, football, cricket. You know, they're competitive people, but they want something else to do, and this suits them down to the ground.
It's not too, I don't say too fast, you know, it's a leisurely sport, so you don't feel that you have to be extra fit.
And that suits me, down to the ground. My coach for the day says she gets the Barbara buzz when players thrive under her tutelage. So after 2 hopeless attempts, the pressure was on.
Lovely, well done. In you come.
Come on in.
Whoa, look at that.
Hey! I'll take that every day of the week. Love this game. Did you get the Barbara buzz?
I did get the Barbara buzz. Every time.
The Bowls Big Weekend will see 3 events being held across the Meridian region. Oh, wow. So you too could be buzzing this weekend.
You've won that end. Because you knocked me out.
Yeah, and I was buzzing thanks to the brilliant Barbara.
Excellent.
You were better at that, Patey, than you were at the ninja circuit a week ago.
I think you're right there.
Well done. Now, the artists and performers who haven't been able to work for so long are back on stage in Brighton.
Yes, the final events in the Brighton Festival are taking place, but this year's Fringe is only just starting. Malcolm Shaw is there for us. Malcolm, what have we got coming up?
Well, Fred, there are going to be hundreds of events throughout the city over the next few weeks as the Fringe takes centre stage from the festival itself. There'll be circus, there'll be comedy, there'll be dance and drama, lots to eat and drink, of course. One big question this year, is it COVID safe? Well, the person to answer that is Julian Caddy, who's in charge of it all. How have you had to modify Fringe this year?
Well, many venues have changed completely. We've had new venues developed which are both indoor and outdoor. Many venues have got completely outdoor performance. The way we book is now in bubbles. There is, of course, social distancing and the space between the seats, everything's sanitised. We're following all the processes and procedures that we need to make ourselves COVID safe.
So very safe. What are the highlights this year for you?
Personally, my highlights are that we're here. We've been through hell over the past nearly 18 months, and I think everybody is really looking forward to seeing live performance once again.
And Fringe really is a major event in its own right, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, over the past 10 years, the Fringe has tripled in size. Before COVID times, we welcomed over 600,000 people to Brighton. It's the largest arts festival in England. We welcome people from all over the world as well, and we had 135 acts from 55 different countries pre-COVID. This year it's somewhat different, but we look forward to coming back to a point where we can somehow get to that point again.
I'm sure you will. Julian, thank you very much indeed. Well, the festival isn't quite over yet. Some more events over the bank holiday weekend, and then Fringe really kicks in. So Brighton is the place to be over the next few weeks if you love the arts.
It looks great. Malcolm in Brighton, many thanks.
Now the bank holiday weekend is ahead. Are we going to get wonderful weather? Let's find out. Pip, what is in store?
Well, it's looking a lot better than it has done so far this month. So far this May, we've averaged about 12 Celsius. We'll be double that plus a bit as we head our way through the bank holiday weekend. The jet stream has now shuffled away northwards. In its place, lovely warm air illustrated by these yellow and orange colours. And with high pressure in charge and not much to move that out the way over the coming days, we'll have something of a cumulative effect with the temperatures climbing day on day and peaking on Bank Holiday Monday at around 25 Celsius.
And Pip, we could be beating some of these continental chaps, could we?
We absolutely could. Just take a look at this league table. So the UK top of the chart there, London and many other inland parts of the southeast coming in at 25 Celsius. Paris and Rome a little bit behind us there, and Ibiza and Nice positively languishing at the bottom, 23 and 21 Celsius respectively. But if you needed any more proof that you don't need to travel too far to get the full holiday experience, then how about this wonderful footage? This comes courtesy of Shoreham RNLI lifeboat team. They were out on an exercise off the Sussex coast yesterday evening, and they managed to combine it with a lovely bit of dolphin spotting. Absolutely glorious. So there we have it, dolphin spotting off the south coast. Glorious weather on the way, temperatures on the rise. As I said, highs are 25 by Bank Holiday Monday. But beware, UV levels high, SPF at the ready. Let's take a look at the full forecast.
Great Western Railway sponsors the ITV Meridian weather.
Well, it's all looking pretty good for the bank holiday weekend, isn't it? Lots of dry weather expected, some lovely sunny spells and temperatures on the rise as the days go by as well. And of course, we've got high pressure to thank for all that. It's been pretty close by today, and it will become increasingly well established as we head our way through the next few days, keeping most of any fronts at bay out towards the west and maintaining the dry, settled and increasingly warm theme up and down much of the UK. Out there at the moment then, we are seeing quite a bit of cloud feeding our way, and we will see a weak weather front running through the flow this evening and tonight. That could produce a little bit of rain or drizzle, but really not amounting to very much. For most of us, lots of dry weather overnight, and with the cloud cover, it will also be relatively mild for most of us, no lower than 8 to 10 Celsius. Tomorrow morning then, quite a cloudy start initially, and if you're awake early enough, you could notice a little rain or drizzle out there, but that will soon peter out, and for the rest of the day, it looks pretty promising. Lots of dry weather, the cloud thinning and breaking, some lovely sunny spells developing for the afternoon, and temperatures responding accordingly. Some inland spots up to 20 or 21 Celsius, and with light winds too, that won't feel too bad at all. These are your high tides for tomorrow. Then for Sheerness, they're 6 minutes past 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the afternoon. And then looking ahead to the next few days, well, as we saw, high pressure firmly in charge. It won't be without its issues. We will have a little misty low cloud drifting onto eastern coast during the nighttime periods, but that will all soon burn off during the day, and really for the daytime it's looking very promising indeed. Lots of dry weather, plenty of sunshine expected, winds relatively light, especially so inland, and temperatures gradually on the rise. 1 or 2 spots could get as high as 25 Celsius. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Great Western Railway sponsors the ITV Meridian weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Great news for the weather there. Not such great news if you are a hay fever sufferer. Grass pollen season is getting going, and with settled conditions over the coming days, levels will generally be in the moderate category. Take care. Bye-bye.
25 degrees, that's more like it, isn't it? And in just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Charlene White.
Stacey's got our late news bulletins throughout the weekend, but for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, take care, thanks for watching,
Great
enjoy the weekend.
Good
Bye.
night.